The Bulls are set to face off against the Indiana Pacers tonight, a game that the Bulls absolutely do need. Both teams come in losing 7 out of their last 10 games, and the Bulls just losing a very tough game against the Phoenix Suns. We're going to talk about that and dive into the mailbag right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Hayes, and if you want to follow me, you can do so at CEO Hayes right off the top. Now, let's get into it. The Bulls face the Indiana Pacers this afternoon, and this is going to be a game that's important for the Bulls if they really want to try to stay into that play-in area. You already know, we talked about it on yesterday's Mailbag episode. It's going to be a very tall order for the Chicago Bulls to be able to get into that play-in, as the teams that are above them have been winning. They don't own the tiebreaker over the Toronto Raptors. They're not statistically eliminated at all from the play-in, so don't want to act like it's no chance that they make it. There absolutely is a chance, but the Bulls are going to have to take care of business against teams, especially teams like the Indiana Pacers, a team that, at least on paper, the Bulls should be more talented than. Now, coming into this game, Tyrese Halliburton, Aaron Naismith, both players that have hurt the Bulls at times, especially Naismith. They're both questionable for this game, so we'll see what if they come in and play. But at the end of the day, like, the Bulls are going to have to, regardless of who's in front of them, find a way to take care of business. How do the Bulls do that? Very simple. Well, it's very simple as far as the list of things. They need to rebound the ball well, limit turnovers, shoot the ball efficiently, and play with 4 quarters of defensive intensity. That should be the basics of anything that the Chicago Bulls team comes in and do. That should be what we expect from this team to be able to do, right? Yes, there are going to be games where they have more turnovers than not. There's going to be games where they're cold from shooting from a team. But if you do at least 2 out of those 4 things, the Bulls can be punch with most teams in the NBA. But as we know, it hasn't always been that way. And the Bulls, because of their lack of a modern offense, the fact that they don't shoot threes, they have to be highly efficient in everything else that they do on the offensive side of the ball. It's just math. When you have teams that shoot the volume of three-pointers that they do in the modern-day NBA, and the fact that the Bulls are the lowest in the NBA with that means you're going to have to execute, maybe even get to the free throw line more than average of the other teams. The Bulls haven't consistently done that. So the Bulls have to take this game seriously. I think that at least I hope that they will, if they're half the goddamn team that we hope or need them to be. And the Pacers are a tough matchup for the Bulls. Drummond and Vooch are going to be highly important in this game, especially when you look at the opposing centers on the other side. Miles Turner, Jalen Smith, those are both 2 centers that are going to be active. Miles Turner having one of his better seasons. Jalen Smith, we already know what he can be, a dog on rebounds and blocks at times. The Bulls have to be locked in this game, and they have to play much more consistently than what they did, especially in the second half of that Phoenix Suns game. Now, can the Bulls do it? Yeah, they have the capability of doing it. The biggest question is, will they? We'll see. And Nikola Vucevic right now, he's averaging a double-double on the season, 17 and 11 on the season. He's recorded a double-double in 8 of the last 10 Chicago Bulls games. Now, again, we've lost 7 out of the last 10 Chicago Bulls games, but we need Nikola Vucevic to be locked in. We need him. The offense just looks better when Vooch is going, and it's going to be up to the head coach, Billy Donovan, to continue to go to him, but Vooch also has to get his spots. He has to shoot the ball efficiently. He has to do those things, pass the ball well, which are all things that we know Nikola Vucevic can do. One of the other questions coming into this game is who's going to be in that starting lineup. Did Patrick Williams show enough to Billy Donovan that he now goes with a more traditional lineup as far as size? Or do we see basically 4 guards out there with Andre Drummond again? Those are the questions that come into this game. Zach LaVine's been really efficient on the offensive side more times than not. I really think the last game against the Suns was the only game in which he just shot a bad percentage overall since the All-Star break. But as we've said, and I've talked about here, we need that efficient, elite offensive player in Zach LaVine to be on for the Bulls to do anything over the back half of the season. So, that's kind of the thoughts. You guys know I've been past predicting Bulls wins and losses since like 20 games into the season. At the end of the day, I want to see this team compete. And it sucks that we're still talking about that, still questioning hard at times. It is what it is. We're going to need the role players to step up. Whoever is on that bench unit, whether P. Will's back in that bench unit or the starting lineup, we also need an aggressive P. Will in that game, because that just helps the Bulls. And P. Will just needs to start crashing the damn boards, man. So those are the things surrounding the Bulls. Javonte Green, of course, is still out. We don't know what's going on with Derrick Jones Jr. He hasn't played very many minutes for this team, even though he's not been listed on the injury report. So we'll see what's going on with that. Carlick Jones as well just got assigned back to the Windy City Breeze, which is like, it raises the question, why did you even convert his deal, right? Why did you convert his deal? So you just don't have an open roster spot? Because you converted his deal to an actual NBA deal, and then you immediately the next day assign him to the Windy City Bulls. This is at the same time Goran Dragic has been signed by the Milwaukee Bucks. I think we still got 1 or 2 games left against the Bucks too. Watch Goran Dragic cook. Just watch it cook. That's just the way things go with the Chicago Bulls team. Watch Goran cook, and we're going to be sitting there like, this is the guy we gave up. And especially when we play such a heavy guard lineup and rotation. Anyway, I'm going to get on a tangent on that, man. Some of the things with this team are just extremely frustrating at times, but we'll see what version of the Chicago Bulls shows up today. Do they give the necessary effort? They're 1.5 games back of a playing spot right now. Every win, every game matters more for the Chicago Bulls than ever before as we finish out our last 18 games of the season. So we'll see. This has been an up and down, rough season. No, it's been more down than up. I can't even say it's been up and down. It's been a very down season. So we'll see what it means for the Chicago Bulls. We'll see how they come out, what the energy is they come out with this game, and how they execute. Does Billy Donovan have a better coaching scheme and philosophy? Highly doubt no bag Billy does, but we'll see. But going into that, this is Sunday, so it still is a mailbag episode. Let's get into the first voicemail today. This one's from Michael Korn.
Good morning, Hayes. How you doing? This is Michael Korn. The morning after the Phoenix game, I watched first, third, and fourth quarter. I didn't watch the second quarter because of having dinner with the family. And I was watching in the fourth quarter. I don't know if you've covered this because I haven't listened to or watched anything, read anything after the game. I just had my own thoughts marinating. And that is in the fourth quarter, down by about 10 with about 7 minutes to go or so. The Bulls were still battling. And then Vooch missed, or they had a couple of bad possessions. Then Vooch missed a shot. Man, he airballed that thing, at least what it looked like. And then the team just gave up. And the reason it pisses me off so much is it highlights what the Bulls have been all about. The reason they give up leads is they give up. And I was thinking, why do they give up so easily? They had a chance against Phoenix yesterday. It was kind of a long time. I thought they played great, but everyone knows the Bulls can't, their offense sucks. You've talked about like Billy Donovan running a 90s offense. Phoenix took 47 threes. We couldn't cover. I don't care how good your defense is. You can't continue to cover, 47 threes. And by taking that many, they made 20, 13 more than us. That's 39 points right there. So Bulls are playing, Billy Donovan's running, they're playing losing basketball. And it's hard to sustain when, there have been so few wins so far and in between it seems like. Anyway, man, love the show. I'll be listening to your mailbags and see what goes next. But I feel like we've been sold a bill of goods by the front office and ownership, and got tired of the roller coaster. But in any case, the Bulls need to change how they play. As simple as that. I don't care who they have on the team. They've got to change. I'm tired of Vooch. Tired of the play. Hey, man, have a good one. Thanks a lot.
Michael Korn hitting on a lot of the things that we've talked about before. Yes, the Bulls need to change their play. It's just simple math. When you look at the Bulls and their limitations from three-point line, like I said, the Bulls are going to have to be an elite offensive team in every other aspect of the game to just keep up with the modern-day NBA and how they shoot three-pointers. It just isn't how you guard three-pointers as well. We've seen times where the Bulls have not guarded the three-point line. Well, now they've been better at it over the last few games. Well, really, honestly, if I'm being honest, probably the last 15, 20 games, the Bulls have been way better at defending the three-point line. But at the same time, you don't hit very many threes yourself. So any threes that a team hit, it just means it hurts the Bulls that much more because we are not a high-volume three-point shooting team. When you look at the Chicago Bulls, the only real threats we have from the three-point line are Patrick Williams by percentage, which he still – we still have our issues with how much he actually is going to shoot the ball. Zach LaVine and Coby White. Coby White's having his worst shooting season as well. So And that's why I've been so vocal at saying, like, the Bulls, regardless of what happens this season and how we finish the season, we got some serious work we need to do in just the makeup of the roster. You hear people say, oh, we need to add a couple of shooters. We need so much more than that. We need some size. At some point, you know what? We got a voicemail on it, so I'm going to save it. If you guys can't tell, I'm kind of frustrated with this team here lately. But, so yeah, great voicemail from Michael Korn. The Bulls do need to evolve their offense. I don't know if we can trust Billy Donovan to be the one to evolve it. But hey, you never know if AK and Eversley change this roster in a way that it forces Billy Donovan to change the way that he has played and used players, then we'll see what that means. But that we're not going to see that definitely not until next season at the very earliest. And even then, I don't necessarily have the highest hopes for it. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one is from Nelson Reed.
Good afternoon, Hayes. Hayes, my name is Nelson Reed. I was born and raised in Chicago, but I live in Denver now, Denver, Colorado. But I watch your show every day. And, man, I love all your comments and all of that. I love your feedback. I just got a couple of things I like to say about Chicago Bulls. I truly don't think they can win with DeMar on the team. I don't never see my man playing no defense. And yes, they probably can win 50 games 1 year, but you cannot win in the playoffs if you play no defense. And the man don't pass. I like the team they got right now. I do believe they should be keeping Vooch. I think they just don't play him right. I don't know if you can get another big man with that kind of talent this time of the year. I just want to know your opinion on that. Again, my personal thought is you cannot win with DeRozan, period. Him and Zach and Vooch, it's just not enough defense there. And also, I don't think it would hurt to go out and look for a nice size four. You're giving up too much height. And you're putting too much work on those guards. Yeah, maybe they play a little defense, but at some point, that's going to wear down. Anyway, give me your opinion. Thanks.
All right. Nelson says he does not think that we can win with DeMar DeRozan on this roster. It depends. Like you said, we can win a lot of regular season games. But ultimately, and even in the voicemail yesterday where I saw a lot of people in the comments defending Billy, defending DeMar. Like, it's amazing to me how many Bulls fans, like I've said this before, as a fan base, we get stuck in a mindset. We are a 29-win team, and people are saying, well, DeMar adds to winning on this team. So 29-win team, all right, cool, right? And we've already seen what DeMar has done with a way deeper team going to the East. The fact of the matter is, with when it comes to this with DeMar, it just does not fit. And there's no realistic timeline for the Chicago Bulls in which they are able to put a team together that can be a contender in DeMar DeRozan's time left in the NBA. There's not. Unless DeMar has found the fountain of youth truly and plays another 6 to 8 years, it's highly unlikely that in the amount of time that DeMar is here, we are able to put a team on the floor that is looked at as a championship contender. Can we put a damn good team on the floor? Yes. Can we put maybe an ECF finalist on the floor? Possibly, right? There are those chances. But when you're building a team, you have to look and evaluate the team honestly. And I think so many Bulls fans are so caught up in being dazzled in what he did in the fourth quarter last season. And I've already given the numbers. DeMar DeRozan has been worse in the fourth quarters this season. He's averaging almost a point less per shot than what he was in fourth quarters last season. He's shooting a worse percentage. He's taking less shots as well, which can contribute to those other things. And he's just not being an effective player. And then to your point, the defense, right? And the passing. And people try to use in the same sense. Zach LaVine, compared to DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine is a lockdown defender, especially this season. Zach has taken leaps this season defensively. DeMar DeRozan is one of the worst defensive players I've ever seen on a basketball court, period. And that's just is what it is. And again, that's not to say that you can't still build a team around DeMar DeRozan that can win. This is not to say every player has their limitations, but DeMar DeRozan's specific limitations also play in to a lot of the overall weaknesses of the Chicago Bulls team. When you look at lack of three-point shooting, DeMar is not going to be a three-point shooter, right? When you look at defense, especially in crunch time in meaningful games, DeMar DeRozan is not a plus defender. So again, this is not to say DeMar is a bad player. It's not anything like that. But when you look at like what DeMar does and what he excels at, it also takes away from what Vooch, who to Nelson's point, Vooch is there's not very many centers better than Vooch in the NBA. Some Bulls fans, they just focus on what Vooch doesn't do. When you focus on one thing Vooch doesn't do, yeah, you can absolutely find better defenders than Nikola Vucevic. And even some people, I've now seen people add to the story with the whole he didn't like to be called out in practice. Like, come on now, Bulls fans. Like, let's be realistic in what we see. And that's the thing, that the objectivity in some Bulls fans is honestly just disgusting. to be honest, because Nikola Vucevic, while he has super big limitations, I'm telling you right now, you can pick the best defensive center in the league. Well, no, are we saying Embiid's the best? If you're just putting in just a defensive center, it does not help the Bulls in what some of their areas are in offense. Keep in mind, the Bulls are technically top 5 defensive team in the NBA, right? So, yes, we can get a better defensive center. We can get a center that is more versatile. I would love to have a Joakim Noah type center on this roster. Don't get me wrong, but you know what? Joe is also a great passer. If you bring in, and here's what I'll say, we can bring in a defensive center to replace Nikola Vucevic, but that center is also going to have to be able to be a great passer, especially out of pick and rolls. But they're going to have to be a great decision maker as far as that area. They don't have to have the offensive skill set of Nikola Vucevic, but I tell you what, if you bring in a defensive center that cannot stretch the floor or cannot hit a mid-range shot consistently with the way that DeMar DeRozan operates on this team, they're going to be a fail as well. So what AK is built here with this roster has left so much to be desired, and that's why he has to go and do some wholesale changes in the offseason for this team. But, you know, DeMar at this point, I do think that eventually if Bulls want to get net the most back, it may have to come via DeMar DeRozan, but we'll see. We'll see what AK does in this offseason. Let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from Shay.
What's up, Hayes? This is Shay. You know, I don't know if you noticed, but you notice Zach plays well or seems to get his confidence when another voice veteran leader type player is playing with him on the team. Think about it. When Thaddeus Young was here, even though we didn't make the playoffs that season, Zach LaVine played pretty good. And now that Patrick Beverly is on the team, I mean, yeah, Zach still has some players where he has bad IQ, yeah, but if you notice, Zach LaVine tends to increase his play a lot. I think Zach LaVine is the type of player where he needs players who are vocal in order to help him try to become a better player. Now, I don't know. Now, that may not make sense, but, I think, if he had, a player playing next to him, like a Chris Paul or maybe, let's say Chris Paul. Because I see what he's doing with Patrick Beverly. I mean, he tends to play a lot more better than more times than not. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a talented player overall, but, when it comes to, winning basketball, if you notice, he tends to play winning basketball with those type of players. Anyway, tell me what you think. Peace.
All right. And Shay saying Zach LaVine playing better with veterans, right? And this is a great point from Shay. Shout out to Shay here. Zach is, and you know, the thing is Zach LaVine's basketball IQ, and he is not the player that you want. You want him to have control of the ball in fourth quarters and decision making because he has that low basketball IQ. So in all honesty, yes, Zach LaVine probably does play better with veterans, and having a veteran or again a game manager, somebody who is a really good point guard next to him and has that high basketball IQ, it helps Zach LaVine. It helps him be a more efficient player. It helps him focus on the things that he does well and takes the ball out of his hands for some of the things he does not do well. That just is what it is with Zach. Zach looks like an efficient offensive player when you have high basketball IQ around him, and he's done that also before. Let's keep in mind, at Zach LaVine's most efficient season, we still had Kobe White starting at and Archie Diacono and players like that at point guard with him. But I still do think and you didn't say point guard specifically, you did say veteran players. You do need to surround Zach LaVine, I think, more so than just veteran, high IQ basketball players. That's what you have to build out with this team if Zach LaVine is going. And like I said in the last voicemail, DeMar definitely has his faults. Zach LaVine has them too. It's not, and some Bulls fans has the thing where it's like you praise Zach and then somehow you're crapping on DeMar. If you praise DeMar and somehow you're crapping on Zach, let's be clear here. Both players have huge glaring limitations to their game. It's just one is considerably younger than the other, and it makes more sense to move forward with the younger player considering how far we're around. But Zach LaVine, you still have to build a very particular and specific team around Zach for him to be at his best and his most successful. And as I've said before, and as many of you guys have pointed out, and it's not wrong, if Zach LaVine is ever going to be on a championship team, he's probably second or third on that team, the best player on that team, and that's real. But you have to have a team full of high IQ basketball players on the team with him, and a coach that can create the correct scheme to put Zach in the right positions and take him out of the situations that aren't the best for him and his basketball IQ. Again, it's not about praising one and then that means the other sucks. Like, they both have highly big limitations to their game that affects the way you have to build out a team. Big glaring holes in their game. So, we'll see what AK and Eversley can do in this offseason to kind of counteract that, because you have to pick a path. And that's been the biggest thing for me this going into this offseason. AK and Eversley have to pick a path. You got to do it. And we'll see if they can do it. We'll see if they will do it. But that's it for me for today. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys also tune in, because it's game day. So that means we'll have our pregame, halftime hangout, and post-game show all live today. But make sure you're also following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.